So we're going to do a little update on Lexi. And after sort of building up her hindquarter strength and stability with long reins on small circles, we've added in a little bit of lunging, playing with walk, trot, canter. Kind of the first layer, just getting her to relax at the faster speeds. And also working with transitions is another strategy for building up hindquarter engagement and stability. So we're just going to look, before I ride her, we're just going to take a quick look at how to work on the lunge line in order to build up the hindquarters. And I've taken off her reins, and we're going to go track right. So I ran the lunge line from her right side, under the jaw, hooked it to the snaffle on the right side, and I'm going to reverse that when we change directions. So I'm just going to ask her to move forward, and she's a pretty forward-going horse until we ask her to use her hindquarters on the long reins. But when we lunge, I forgot my lunge whip, so we're just going to hope the riding whip works, and I think it might because she's pretty forward going. So the first thing I want to check out to make sure she's sort of calm and able to focus internally is that when I first send her out, she can just walk, that she can just go out there at a nice relaxed walk for a lap, right? And then for 10 minutes, we're just going to work with walk, trot, canter transitions. Nope, out you go. All right, so I'm going to bump her up to trot. Not much trot. Bump her up again. And you see as I increase speed, the circle gets bigger. So if she cuts in a lot, it's time to start bumping her up to the faster speeds. Now, sometimes she has a little cough when she first starts trotting, so I'll give her a minute. Good. Not, okay, are you done? It's a bit dusty out here too. Okay. Very relaxed with walk-trot transitions. I could use a little bit more energy both in the walk and the trot. So I'm going to go ahead and bump her up to canter next time. And canter. Great. And again, that's going to make my circle much bigger. She came down to walk really quickly. So I'm going to let her walk for a lap, but that one canter transition put quite a bit more energy into the walk. I like that she's walking more energetically, but not breaking into trot. So not breaking into trot shows she's developing the self-control over the forward, but a little more energy in the walk helps with the self-propelled part of the equation. Great, there's my lap. I'm going to bump her up to trot. And again, she might be anticipating the canter, but I get a lot more energy after that one canter transition. Great. Bump her right back to trot. There's my lap, and we'll ask for canter. Good. Not a super canter, but pretty self-controlled. Then I'll let her walk. And again, sort of borrowing the energy from the faster gaits brings energy to the slower gaits. But she doesn't even have to hold the canter. It doesn't even have to be a very good canter to start playing with that energy balance. And then the lap of walk just makes sure she maintains self-control over the forward, that she can calm down after cantering. And if the canter is exciting, The time at the walk sort of counterbalances that. Trot. And again, I have almost a little too much energy in the trot, but if she doesn't break into canter on her own, sort of shows some self-control in the trot. Yep, I get almost a full lap. This time we'll go up to trot and canter. Great, just 2 strides. But again, I don't really want her to maintain canter or trot or walk when it doesn't look easy for her or graceful or well balanced. It's better to go through transitions about 10,000 times and let each gait get better little by little rather than driving her to maintain any particular gait other than the walk. The walk you can't overdo. The trot and the canter you can easily overdo, especially if horses are a little bit tense or a little bit anxious or just not very good at trot and canter in their coordination. Great, and back to trot. Whoop. Yep, don't need the lunge whip. Great, so even though she rocketed off in the transition, so I let her break. When she came down from that zippy trot, there's my 1 lap of trot, and I'm going to ask for a canter transition. Great. And she quickly comes back to the walk, which shows that she's calm in all 3 speeds, which means she's thinking about her comfort in all 3 speeds. So as long as she's not really defensive in the walk, in the trot, in the canter, she's going to start working on what's more comfortable for me. Sometimes she'll be too slow, sometimes too fast, sometimes she'll hold the gait, sometimes she won't. But lunging is just sort of a process of self-exploration. And like I said, I'm just going to do 10 minutes each way. We're almost there. And it's the transitions themselves, the upward transition and the downward transition, that have equal value for horses learning how to engage the hindquarters and lift the back. So I let her break because that's always beneficial, and I can always push her back up to the next speed. There's my 1 lap of trot. Oops, I think the camera lost us. Hang on, we're coming around. I think I put the camera a little bit close. So I'll let her trot around a 2nd lap. Try to move back a little. See if the camera picks her up again. There we go. And now we'll ask for canter. Excellent. And she's quickly back to the walk. So we have a few minutes to do at least 1 more round of walk, trot, canter, but I'll let her walk for a lap. Itch, of course, catch her breath. Great, and here I'll ask for trot. If she breaks to the walk on this first lap, I let her have a few steps and then bump her back up to trot. Just like that. There's sort of my full lap. Now I'll ask for canter. Excellent. Great. And it's starting to get a little hot today. We've got about 3 more minutes this direction, but I'm just going to let her walk. Maybe a couple of laps, maybe trot a couple more times. Just go back to walk, trot. I won't ask for any more canter for the last 3 minutes. and just see what she gives me. Great, so we'll go back to trot. And again, if she breaks before I get at least a lap, a couple strides of walk, back to trot. She's anticipating the canter now, so I'm getting some energy in the trot, which is fantastic. And it's good to keep them guessing. I might ask for canter, I might not. Because canter transitions are just a way to build up more hindquarter strength and engagement, add a little energy to all three gaits. And I'll let her walk a little bit. She's keeping the circle nice and big and round. If she started cutting in, then I would certainly bump her back up to trot to get her back out on the circle. And one more trot. Good. And I'll just let her do one more lap of walk and we'll change direction. So this little bit of lunging, just 10 minutes each way, playing with all three speeds, helps her use lots of different muscles in her body, warm up in a way that makes sense to her, and gives her a little bit more time allowing discovery for how she can find more comfort, thereby hopefully improving her balance. Great. So then I'm just going to ask her to come to me so I can change. Girl, I'm going to take the lunge line out and we're going to run it through the bit from the inside, clip it to the outside for the other direction. Good girl. And I'll just ask her to go off at the walk. Thank you. Get back to where she has room to make a big circle. Excellent. And there's my first lap of walk. So I'm going to do a few walk-trot transitions. Great. One of the important pieces of always allowing a horse to make the downward transition before we use the whip to push them back into another upward transition is that when horses become unstable or uncomfortable in the faster gaits, the most natural thing in the world for them to do is slow down in order to stabilize or regain comfort. So if we just allow them to do that, they don't learn how to maintain a bad trot or a bad canter. They slowly learn to improve their coordination for all three gaits. Excellent. So this time, after several walk-trot transitions, I'll let her walk a little bit. Then we'll look for a full lap of the trot, even if she transitions in the process. So she can break during her one lap of trot. I just don't give her very many strides of the walk before I ask again for the trot. And I refrain from asking for canter until we get back. There's our full circle of trot. Now, canter transition. And if she struggles a little, that's okay. I'm going to keep asking till she gives it a try. And if it took her a lap or two to get organized, no big deal. She's a forward-going horse. I don't need to kind of chase her up like I do with Hercules to get him just to try. She just needs a minute to figure out how to get her body organized into the canter. So if I put pressure on her, like I do with Hercules once in a while, that acts against her finding her balance in trot or canter. If I give her a minute, she's obviously increasing her speed, she's trying, she's thinking about it, so I just keep the whip lifted, keep a light pressure on until she figures it out. Great, then we'll begin again. There's her lap of walk. Ask for trot. Again, that one canter transition adds a little bit more energy to the trot. She still breaks. Back to trot. No problem, she breaks again. Back to trot. There's our full lap. And canter transition. Canter. And even that sort of whippy noise is enough to get her a little worked up. So with these sensitive forward-going horses, it doesn't take much to get them too excited. Excellent. So when she broke to walk and went back to trot, this is still her process of coming back to walk. So I always wait, especially after the canter with a horse that's pretty forward. I wait until, we'll start at that tree again. I wait until they can maintain at least one full lap of walk before I start asking for upward transitions. Because if they can't maintain a full lap of walk after the canter, which happens, then they're still too excited and they're not stable enough to walk. So I just let them work themselves. They can go walk, trot, canter, but I wait until they can maintain the walk for one full lap before I ask. So there I'm going to ask for the upward transition. And she went right through trot into canter, so I won't ask for canter. I'll just let her make her way back to the walk. As you can see, that little bit of excitement from the whippy noise added a little teaspoon too much energy. So I'll just say she broke to walk near that tree. So I want to make sure she can maintain a full lap of walk. Uh-oh, I think we might have lost the camera again. I'm going to try to move. Nope, camera's got her. Okay, good. I think when there's these bright sunspots, the pivot gets confused, especially at the faster speeds. So it's not just the horse. Okay, so there's her one lap of walk. I'm going to ask for a trot. That's great. She didn't get overly excited. She just went into trot and not the canter. Hopefully the pivot catches her through the sun. Great. There's easily one lap of trot. So now I'm going to ask for canter. Excellent. Great. And she's puffing a little bit, so I may give her two. It's kind of a hot day. She's mostly clipped, not all the way clipped. So we may let her walk a lap or two. Oh yeah, I'm down to, again, kind of the last 3 minutes. And that seems to be a good amount of time to play with the canter. And then she starts flaring her nostrils. She's getting a little hot, maybe a little bit tired. So I'll let her walk a couple of laps, and then we'll just do walk trot to finish up. Great. So I'll ask for trot. And she may canter, she may anticipate the canter, but all I'm looking for now are just a couple minutes of walk-trot transitions, kind of letting her wind down, relax a little bit, and play with that energy that we built up with the canter transitions. And we're down to kind of the very last minute of it, so I'm just going to let her walk. Oop, the camera might have lost her again. Great, so I'll just let her catch her breath, and then I will put the reins back on, take the lunge line off, and see what we can get done under saddle today.